All right, what is up, y'all? We are back in the building. Y'all know what to do. If you can hear me, drop a 1 in the chat. If you can see me, oh my goodness. We are up in here looking all crispy and clean on this Monday morning. Hopefully y'all are doing great on this Monday. Hey, it's tax season. Tomorrow's the day. Hopefully y'all got your taxes done. Some of us are still working on them. We're gonna get it done though. I'm not gonna name any names. Either way, great to see y'all on this Monday. Wow, welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the ClassE Morning Show. I'm your host, ClassE Beats, of patreon.com/ClassE Beats. By the way, link is in the description as well as in the pinned comment in the chat. We're gonna have a great show for y'all today. So we are kicking off the show. We're gonna talk about Soulja Boy and this lawsuit he just lost. Big money up in here, and he is not happy about it at all. We'll get to that. Of course, we've been following this Tay-K trial. We are officially on day 10 for verdict watch. So we're going to see what happens with this trial, what the jury comes back and said. I posted a lot of videos about the Tay-K trial over the weekend, and so many of you were sharing your thoughts and saying that in a lot of instances you were torn and couldn't decide which way you were thinking it was going to go. I saw some people saying it might be a hung jury. Other people were saying, I don't care what the defense had to say, how good of a closing argument they had. It's going to be guilty. All right. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. We've got some update with Tony Busby, Diddy, and we're going to get into it here shortly. But before I do, I got to say what's up to the people, man. We've got the awesome, amazing Amy is in the building. Les Cleaver's in here. Michi, Mr. Brown, praying for you. Hopefully you're doing well, Mr. Brown. Libby22SC girl is up here as well. Kara Hampton, Tatum, Valencia, good to see you. We've got BSB is up in here. Brown Sugar Babes in the building. Hillia's in here. Trisha, good morning, and shout out to all the members in the building as well. I appreciate y'all always holding it down over here. And also, as we get started with the show, I do want to ask y'all a huge favor. I ask this every single show. It's easy to do and it's free. And that is if you guys could like the video. Again, not only are likes free, it takes less than a second to like the video. And it really does help the channel grow. Lets the algorithm know you guys are enjoying the show, having a good time over here, and lets everybody know that we're live, and it shares the video on the channel out with more people. So if you could take a second and like the video for me, I would appreciate it. Thank you to all 143 of y'all that liked the video so far. Good Lord. I appreciate y'all putting in the work and doing that as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So we've got a couple of super chats in here as well. I will be reading super chats as we go throughout the show. Big shout out to Kara up in here, dropping the 5 bomb, just showing some love, man. Shout out to Kara with the super sticker. I appreciate it. All right. Thank y'all for stopping by and dropping the ones in here too. Tanya is in the building as well. Good to see you, Tanya, and good morning. And Michi has some great points, as she usually does. When talking about Tay-K, Michi says the jury just sent down 2 questions. One question was they wanted the closing arguments. Judge Boyd said, nope, not evidence. What? Oh no. Really? I've got the live stream pulled up here. Did they show that live or did they show it in Judge Boyd's live stream? And thank you, Michi, for that update, because I don't, it looks like they didn't show that on the live stream. So maybe if we go over to Judge Boyd. All right, so we're going to take a little bit of a detour because all I see over on KSAT, the news station we've been watching it on, they didn't actually show it. So let's go over to Judge Boyd. I was going to surprise y'all. We were going to watch some of her live stream earlier today, but let's go and see what Judge Boyd is talking about early. And to those of y'all just coming in, welcome. I appreciate y'all being here. I need to change the title because we're going to figure out what's going on with this. Hold on. Let's see what Judge Boyd says. So we're
Taurus.
Minutes behind.
I'll come down.
Where did this happen? Let me see what Michi said.
So what are they trying in this other county?
I don't know.
I'm going to see if I can find it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I'm going to send an email to your attorney to see when he's going to be finished with your trial so we can get you sentenced. Okay.
Today?
It's not going to happen. Well, let me see. I don't know if it sets you for May 5th. All right. Once you
I
sign the
love it.
reset form, you're excused.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
No, that's not them.
Put another stent.
We're gonna
inside
find
that
it,
one.
y'all.
Now I'm going through cardiac rehab, and they're telling me it's going to be approximately 3 to 4 months. But that's
I'ma see if I can
normally for
find it.
somebody that just comes out.
There's two.
Okay, sorry.
There they are.
All right.
There they are. Shout out to Michi up in here. We found it, Michi. All right, so we've got to get an update on this and see what's going on. What is George Boyd talking about? Good morning to everyone just stopping by. So let me change this real quick. We're gonna change the headline. So this is very interesting because if it is the case that the jury is asking, like we had in this Tay-K trial, to see what was said during closing arguments, the jury may be on this with us, because we talked about this when we watched closing arguments. If y'all haven't watched the closing arguments, please make sure you go back and watch it. And I'll leave the link to those videos in the description. But during closing arguments, John Hunter gave a very, very, very thoughtful and well put closing argument for the defense in saying, has the state proven that Tay-K was the one who pulled the trigger? A lot of us in the chat were like, I don't know if the state did their job and proved beyond a reasonable doubt that Tay-K was the one who actually pulled the trigger. Because think about it. They were in the car. There was a gun. People were struggling. You had some people who were scared. You had Miss Reyes, the ex-stripper, who testified. Obviously, she has a large incentive to testify a certain way in saying that, yes, it was him. Tay-K was the one that pulled the trigger. I saw him do it. He pulled the trigger. Now, what do you believe? One, we got to look at the evidence. Was there evidence to show that that was the case? Not really. Two, we have the eyewitness testimony of someone who is now in a situation to where if things go well for Tay-K, she might be on the hook for this. Yikes. So now we've got an issue. Judge Boyd apparently is going to call up the defense and the prosecution because the jury wants to see closing arguments. So if that's the case, y'all, we might really be a true representation of the jury, because they're probably thinking, you know, John was up there making some good points. I don't know if the state's done their job beyond a reasonable doubt. Let's see what Judge Boyd says about the jury hearing closing arguments again.
State defense. These are the questions. And these are the proposed answers for the court.
This is very interesting. Good morning, Slim Life.
Yes. Great. Okay.
We just say you have all
Okay,
the evidence before you.
No, I'm not going to do that because they have a specific, they want testimony read back, and to say you have all the law and the evidence doesn't answer it. So I'm just telling them if they want witnesses' statement, it has to be a dispute. So this is this one. And I have two answers to that.
I'm so glad Judge Boyd has her own YouTube, because we would have never been able to see this.
There's two. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
This is interesting.
The generic. This one gives the thing about the attorney's statements are not evidence.
Attorney, oh, here we go. This is where they're saying
And
attorney
what I can
statements are
tell
not
both
evidence.
parties-
Yes.
Oh no, Judge Boyd, no, she did us dirty. Judge Boyd went off the record. Oh man, I thought we were gonna get to see it. Hold on. Does she come back on the record and say what she said? Judge Boyd, no. All right, let's wait and see.
Patrick Michael Cuellar.
Okay, so we might have to fast forward a little bit. So we'll get through this. Let me see what she says when she brings them back. And shout out to Michi. Ah, okay, here we go. Here we go. Is this it? Yep. Let's see what Judge Boyd has to say to Tay-K.
And for the defense,
John Hunter for Mr. McIntyre.
Mr. McIntyre, come down.
So Tay-K's sitting in the courtroom.
all right. The court is in receipt of 2 questions from the jurors. Defense and state, have you had a chance to review the questions?
We have, the state has.
The defense has as well, Your Honor.
All right, the first question, can we have the transcript of the witness?
Defense has as well, Your Honor.
All right, the first question, can we have the transcript of the witness's testimony? The court proposes the following supplemental charge. Members of the jury, I have received your note. Under the law, I cannot read testimony back to you generally. You must have a dispute about the testimony that you are asking about, and you will need to specify exactly what you are in dispute about.
Right.
If the jury specifies as to what they are in a disagreement about with regard to the statement of any witness, then they may, upon application to the court, have read to them from the court reporter's notes just that part of such witness testimony or the particular point in dispute and no other. Any objections to that as the answer, state?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
No, Your Honor.
That makes
Next
sense.
question.
They got to be
Can we have the
specific.
transcripts of the opening and closing statements of the statement of the state and the defense? Have both parties had a chance to review the question?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge.
Court proposes the following supplemental charge. With reference to your inquiry, attorneys' opening statements and closing arguments are not evidence. You now have before you all the testimony, exhibits, and evidence
Dang.
that was admitted, and you have all the law before you. Please continue your deliberations. Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
None from the defense.
All right.
Wow, guys. This is interesting. Again, we're going to look at this. We're going to look at this as if we were jurors, right? Because essentially the jury would be made up of people just like us, like me sitting here on YouTube, like y'all in the comments and in the chat. So let's think about this. If the state did their job, would the jury need to see opening and closing statements? This to me says that something is missing in the evidence that was presented by the prosecution. Because again, if you're asking to hear what the prosecution's case was, if you're asking to hear their opening statements, there may be some confusion on what case they have. And I'm surprised. Well, I'm not surprised that Judge Boyd said this, but I'm surprised that the jury is asking to hear opening and closings again. If they presented their case and it was clear, I can't imagine why the jury want to see that. Y'all have to let me know what you think about this in the comments and in the chat, because if I'm a prosecutor and they're asking to hear opening and closing statements, I would be pretty worried.
Any objection to the court sending the questions with the answers back to the jurors?
Not from the state.
No, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
You are Deputy Laura. All right. And Luis Martinez?
All right, Judge Boyd is going to keep it moving. I don't know. Because again, what does the defense have to prove? The defense doesn't have the burden of proof in the first place, right? But if the defense has created reasonable doubt, then the jury would have to ask questions about what opening and closing statements are, because we already know what the defense is saying. The defense is saying he didn't do this and the state hasn't proven that. Now we need to go back and see what the prosecutors were trying to say and what they believe actually happened, because maybe we're not seeing it. Oh man, this might be a hung jury. I don't know what's going to happen, but this is interesting to see that they asked this. I'm probably reading too much into it. Either way, y'all let me know what you think in the comments and in the chat. And shout out to Michi for putting me onto that. We wouldn't have seen it for a while because we were going to go back and watch some of Judge Boyd from earlier. So shout out to Michi. Thank you for letting me know. Case law is the case falls is what I think you meant to say on this entirely on the stripper's testimony. I mean, these eyewitnesses were garbage. Let's be real. These eyewitnesses were so bad. They said, oh, it just looked like there was a bunch of brown people in the car. There was one chick that had blonde hair. I don't know if she was black or something. It looked like there were maybe 4 other Hispanic dudes in there, and the one dude rolled out the car. One guy, when he got on the hood, he was on his fours. The other person said he was standing up. Like, man, this is not looking good for the prosecution, in my opinion. Again, I'm just thinking of it. If I were back there deliberating, why are we asking to see opening and closing? It also could be, and I mentioned this to y'all before, when you're on a jury, there's always going to be that one person that asks to see or wants to see some wild stuff, or they ask, in some cases, silly questions that really don't have to pertain to making a decision or making a verdict. So I don't know. Y'all are saying very shaky witness testimony. Wait, so they're relying on the stripper's testimony only, or am I misunderstanding? That was their key witness because she was in the car. The problem is she's looking at possibly facing capital murder charges herself. So, I mean, whether it's true or not, she's got to point the finger at Tay-K, because as John Hunter stated, she has an incentive. Her testimony was bought and paid for because she's trying to get a plea deal so that, one, she can't be charged in this case in anything moving forward at all, no matter what evidence comes out. And then she can get relieved of her current charge as well. So it's a tough spot to be in. Them witnesses, was it Ish? That lady said they were all Mexicans and the shooter was dark skinned with the afro and the blonde highlight. Surveillance speaks for itself. Her car, she drove, occupants, someone is no more. Guilty by association. What from opening and closing is so important to hear is my question. Michi, to me, again, I would have to say, I think they just want to hear what the state is trying to prove. Because if they're trying to prove, and if they said in opening statements, we're going to prove to you that Tay-K was the one who shot Mark Anthony Saldivar. If they said that, it's a wrap. You know what? We're going to pivot. We're going to pivot all the way, because now we got to look at opening statements. What did the state say that this was going to prove? Let's go back and see. Let's do a little bit of a rewind, y'all.
I was born in Elizabethtown, Kentucky.
Okay.
And let's see what the state actually said that they were going to prove. And then y'all can decide if they proved it or not. Let me see. Here we go.
Each of you solemnly swear that in the case of the state of Texas versus Tamar McIntyre, you will a true verdict render according to the law and the evidence, so help you God?
We're going to pivot a little bit.
All right, you can lower your hand. State, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you may proceed.
Here we go.
Bill of indictment. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, the grand jury of Bexar County, state of Texas, duly organized and paneled and sworn as such at the November term AD 2019 of the 187th Judicial District Court of said county, in said court, at said term, do present in and to said court that in the county and state aforesaid and anterior to the presentment of this indictment, on or about the 23rd day of April 2017, Tamar McIntyre, herein referred to as defendant, did intentionally cause the death of an individual, namely Mark Anthony Saldivar, herein referred to as complainant, by shooting the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely a firearm, and the defendant was in the course of committing or attempting to commit the offense of robbery of Mark Anthony Saldivar against the peace and dignity of the state.
All right, to the indictment, how do you plead?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
All right, you may be seated. State, do you have any opening statements?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Here we go. What did they say they were going to prove?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take you back to April 23rd, 2017. When Lucy Salvador woke up that morning, she did not realize it was going to be the last day she talked to her son, Mark Salvador.
Dang.
Or saw him alive. She spoke to him that day in the afternoon at the house, and Mark was excited. He had a rapper that contacted him about doing a photo shoot. Tamor McIntyre, or Tay-K 47, or Tay-K, here in San Antonio, Texas. He was excited. His passion was photography. His passion was taking photographs and wanted to make that his career. He was young. He was just 20 years old. Tamor McIntyre was almost 17 years old. He was an up-and-coming rapper that contacted Mark about this photo shoot. And when Tamor came over to pick up Mark from his house, at his mother's house, Mark went outside with his backpack and his camera, very definable white type camera, ran off to this car down the street, a black Kia. Little did he know he was getting into that car, and then we'd be falling off that car later on, shot by this individual that's sitting right over there.
Okay, here we go.
When he got to that car, he got in the back passenger seat. It's a four-door Kia. Tamor McIntyre was in the front passenger seat. Joanna Reyes was driving the vehicle. A good buddy of Tay-K's was in the back seat and scooted over to the middle, Jalen Bell. And then also, there was a Jeremiah Rodriguez in the back seat.
There's two other people we haven't
When
heard
they drove
from.
away, they proceeded over to 410 and McCullough, across the street from North Star Mall here in San Antonio, Texas. When they were at the intersection, an altercation began at that point. This man right over here pulled out a gun and turned around
Did he?
and started hitting with fist and also with a gun, telling him, "Give me your stuff, give me your stuff, give me that backpack." They're wrestling for the backpack. At that point, Jalen Bell also wants to get involved in this. He's a bigger guy, a lot bigger than Tay-K. He's in that back seat with Mark. They start beating him and trying to take away his backpack. His passion is in that backpack. His photography, his career. Tay-K gets that backpack away from him. Jalen Bell is still hitting and kicking and pushing Mark. They're at a stoplight. There are people parked around them at that stoplight, witnessing what's going on. Because this
Wow.
happened at 5 o'clock on a Sunday, in broad daylight. At some point, Mark gets kicked out of the car. They slam that back door. They won't let him back in the car. "Help! Help! Help!" He's yelling. What he loved is in that car, his camera.
He died
"Give me my
for a
things! Give me
camera.
my things!" He knows the light's about to turn green. He's frantic. He runs to the front. He jumps on the hood. One of the biggest mistakes of his life, or rather, the last part of his life.
I think it's interesting. Nobody's asking the question why Miss Reyes, the driver, kept driving. Why did she keep driving? And again, y'all are saying you think he was set up. I think that's highly likely. I mean, he has stuff in his bag, certain types of things. If y'all know what I'm talking about, he had condoms, he had other stuff. Maybe they said, "Hey man, come out here, you can have a good time. Let's shoot the music video, you'll be good to go." It's clear Miss Reyes was in on it.
Joanne Reyes is driving that vehicle. The light turns green. They drive through that stoplight. It's a Sunday afternoon. Right across the street, or highway from North Star Mall, there's a Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays. They pull into that Chick-fil-A parking lot.
No, not
She
they.
slams on the
She.
brakes. Mark sort of stands up. Looks like he's stomping on the windshield. But then that car jerks and he falls. You'll see that passenger door open up, the front passenger door open up, where this man over here was sitting with that gun. He leans out.
Was he?
He shoots Mark through the shoulder, goes across his body, exits a little bit of his lower back. He falls to the ground. The car reverses and takes off from the scene. You'll see several people run up and try to help Mark. But that bullet crossed his body. It hit his spine, hit his both lungs. If he would have been on the best medical gurney in the world, he wouldn't have survived that shot. He dies in that parking lot that day. As Tay-K and his friends drive off. They don't go to the cops. They don't call the cops. They run away. But that's not the end of the story. Because that car was found less than a mile away, abandoned, at a Mexican food restaurant. There's evidence there that Tay-K was there, that Jalen Bell was there, that Jeremiah Rodriguez was there, and Joanna Reyes was there. Doesn't end there. Tay-K and Jalen take off. They run. They get out of town. Jalen is caught in Dallas. Tamor is caught in New Jersey. Nobody called the cops. Nobody said anything at that point of helping.
Just
Mark
boy,
Salvador.
that's good.
A promising career, possibly photography, a difficult field of photography. You take chances, you do things for nothing. That's what he wanted. He had a chance that day to take some photographs of an up-and-coming rapper that had his career on the horizon, possibly, or wanted it to be that career of a rapper. But instead, that particular day, he chose to take a life of an individual, Mark Salvador. That's what we will bring to you, and evidence will show that Tamor McIntyre committed capital murder on April 23rd.
There it is. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There it is right there. Let me rewind that one more time. What did this man say the evidence is going to show?
He chose to take a life of an individual, Mark Salvador. That's what we will bring to you, and evidence will show that Tamor McIntyre committed capital murder on April 23rd, 2017. Thank you.
All right, y'all. Wow. I gotta ask this in the chat. Did the evidence show that Tay-K was the shooter beyond a reasonable doubt? I cannot wait to see what y'all say to this. Did they do their job? And again, that's what they were running. That's what they were running off of, that the evidence was going to show that. And we could go through, y'all seen the entirety of this trial documented here. We could go through all the videos and replay testimony and look at evidence. Is that what the evidence showed? Some of y'all are saying yes. Some of y'all are saying it doesn't show that he is the shooter. I'm gonna leave that poll up there and see what y'all think. All right, we got a couple other things we're gonna talk about. So let's go and get into our regularly scheduled program. And again, shout out to Michi for putting me on game. I'm glad we went and looked at that, because that's wild. And we'll get back into it. We'll watch some. We should be able to watch some of Judge Boyd today. But before we get to Judge Boyd, we've got some news about Soulja Boy. I know. Young Soulja is up in here. He just took a major L in this lawsuit. And man, this lawsuit's insane. If y'all don't know what's going on, I'm going to get into it here. And we're actually going to watch this video from E! News that gives a little bit of background on what happened with this lawsuit. And then we'll get into the details of why Soulja Boy actually lost the lawsuit and what happened in the first place. Here we go.
The verdict is in for Soulja Boy's sexual assault civil trial. On April 10th, the rapper, whose real name is DeAndre Cortez Way, was found liable of assault, sexual battery, gender violence, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and failure to pay wages in a California lawsuit filed by an unnamed Jane Doe, according to a press release from her attorney obtained by USA Today. A jury awarded Way's accuser $4 million in compensatory damages, with punitive damages being considered at a later time per Doe's legal team. Ron Zambrano, a lawyer for the plaintiff, told USA Today in a statement, "We're happy our client was vindicated and the jury believed her claims of physical and sexual assault. We're looking forward to moving on to the punitive damages phase of the case." E! News has reached out to Way's rep for comment but has not heard back. In the past, the 34-year-old's spokesperson denied the allegations, telling TMZ Soulja would never put his hands on a female. He wouldn't beat a woman or put his hands on a woman. Doe first brought forth a lawsuit against Way in 2021.
I believe it, but it doesn't matter.
Sexual violence when she worked as his personal assistant from 2018 to 2020, according to NBC News. In her filing obtained by the outlet, Doe said they also had a consensual relationship during that time, though Way would allegedly abuse her and then express remorse afterward. The suit.
Yo, this is crazy, man. This reminds me somewhat of the ClassE Diddy situation, although it's a little bit different. It's like, oh, we were in a relationship. I just didn't like some of the things. But now that I think about it, it probably wasn't okay. Like, what? We're adults. Come on, y'all.
Read, over the course of this abusive relationship, defendant Way punched plaintiff directly in the head on at least 10 separate occasions. Doe also alleged in the documents that she was sexually assaulted by Way on numerous occasions and sometimes twice in the same day. During the month-long trial, Way and his legal team argued that Doe was not a salaried employee, but that the artist agreed to have her run errands in exchange for room and board, according to Rolling Stone. He also denied Doe's abuse accusation, calling it a disgusting allegation when he took the stand. Way testified per the publication, "I asked her if she wanted to have sex, and she was engaged in it. She didn't push me or say stop, nothing like that."
All right, there it is. So let's go ahead and get into this article from Megan Kuniff over there. Did a great job with this one. She was actually covering this trial and was in court during the whole thing. So if y'all don't follow her, make sure you go follow her on X to check out her coverage there. But what does she say? Jury ordered Soulja Boy to pay $4 million in blunt rollers assault or battery lawsuit, we'll call it. The Crank That rapper vowed to appeal the verdict, which includes an additional $250,000 in punitive damages. Oh my goodness. The plaintiff's lawyer had asked for $4 million in punitive. Here we go. In Santa Monica, a jury on Thursday ordered rapper DeAndre Cortez, aka Soulja Boy, Way, to pay $4.25 million to a woman who said he abused and assaulted her while she lived in his home as a marijuana blunt roller and a personal assistant. Jesus. The verdict in Los Angeles, the verdict in the LA County Superior Court includes $250,000 in punitive damages. The jury of 5 men and 7 women found Way liable for battery, assault, intentional infliction of emotional distress, harassment, gender violence, and 2 employment-related claims after a 3-week trial that focused on approximately 18 months the woman spent with Way between January 2019 and August of 2020. So this is pretty recent. Jurors did not find Way liable for false imprisonment. The woman's lawyer, so she wanted to be there, it sounds like. The woman's lawyer had asked for $73 million in compensatory damages and asked for $4 million in punitive to match the approximately $4 million the jury awarded in compensatory. Oh my goodness. An older woman who served on the jury told reporters jurors agreed that, come on, he beat the living daylights out of her. No question about that. But they debated the woman's role as the poor victim or someone actually participating in a kind of entourage lifestyle. The guy treated her like dirt and he deserves the verdict, but that's what kept the lid on, the juror said. A woman who served on the jury told reporters they believe Way might have been lying about some certain things. As she left the courthouse, she told the plaintiff, "I'm so sorry all of this happened to you." The plaintiff sued under the pseudonym Jane Doe, of course, but was addressed by her true name in court. She told reporters on Thursday she hopes the verdict wakes everyone up and stops them from just belittling people trying to help their dreams. What does that even mean? Huh? What? He's not the only one doing stuff like this, she said. That's true. Way told reporters the jury got it wrong. I firmly believe that the decision, this is Soulja Boy talking, that the decision made in court was not based on facts or substantial evidence, but rather on factors that were outside of my control. 34-year-old Way said in a written statement he read aloud outside the courthouse. The truth was overshadowed by the involvement of individuals such as the jury who were not present during the events in question. Well, duh. And I feel that the system allowed external influences to shape the outcome. He also said the woman's anonymity raises serious concerns about fairness. Keeping these individuals anonymous while I'm forced to face public scrutiny creates an unequal playing field. I agree with that 1000%. This civil lawsuit system is absolute garbage, and the way things are set up is just scary, to be honest. I believe the entire process has been tainted by a system that is not designed to protect the rights of the accused. Very true. Way said he wants to make it clear that I'm innocent, and in this case was never about justice. It was about money and personal gain. And I will not let it stand. I'm committed to filing an appeal and fighting for the truth to be revealed. I will continue to stand by my decision and believe that I did not commit the crimes I'm accused of, Way said. Well, the jury seems to believe that, he gave her that work. So I don't know. We didn't get to see the evidence in this case, so maybe we'll see if something comes out. Way is not charged with the crime, but he's scheduled for another trial in a similar lawsuit from a former girlfriend who claims years of abuse. In 2023, a jury ordered him to pay a woman $471,000, including $263,000 in punitive damages in another assault and unlawful imprisonment lawsuit. Soulja, what were you doing? Nima Ramani, president of the plaintiff's firm West Coast Trial Lawyers, told reporters the verdict is a wake-up call for the entire music industry. The days of physically and sexually abusing your employees, those days are over, she said. Lawyers at the law firm represent another woman suing Way for abuse. So this is 3 people? Good Lord, Soulja. They also represent former employees of singer and rapper Lizzo in a sexual harassment lawsuit. And they represented rapper Megan Thee Stallion's former photographer, Emilio Garcia, in another harassment and unpaid wages lawsuit. That's still pending, I believe. I don't think they've had a resolution in that one. Ramini said of Way's lawyers offered a lowball settlement of $100,000 shortly before the trial. Civil judgment in California stands for 10 years and can be renewed for another 10 years. So Ramini said they'll pursue Way for the next 20 years if he doesn't pay. Dang. We're going to be going after Way and his assets, whether he's on tour, whether he's doing TikTok live, Ramini said. Way's lawyers at Ivy, McNeil, Wyatt, Purcell, and Diggs declined to speak to reporters after the verdict. Yeah, they wrote out this message for Soulja Boy to read. They say, hey, that's all we got for you, man. We'll appeal it and we'll keep it moving. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments and in the chat. It's seeming like Soulja Boy has 2-3 other lawsuits he's going to have to deal with in light of this. And if he appeals, from what we're hearing from the jury, it seems like all the evidence was there. Unfortunately, we don't get to see it, but I want to know y'all's thoughts on this. Wow, man. Soulja Boy out here doing all that mess. Kendrick said it's bigger than the rabbit hole gets deeper. Just saying. Imagine waiting on $500 for a TikTok live and the lawsuit snatching. You need a physical person to roll your blunts. Really, Soulja? I know. Even in 2019 and 2020, you could get that done. But he probably didn't think there was going to be any issues, or he just wasn't thinking at all. Shout out to Black Butterfly in the building with the 5 bomb. She says Soulja Boy is a monster. Go back to what Teddy Riley's daughter said, and Teddy had to step in. It's a pattern, ClassE. It's sounding like it is. I don't know a lot about Soulja's history, but it's looking like this isn't the first time that something like this has happened. So again, maybe the music industry does need a wake-up call, especially the old ways of doing things, the Diddy way, the R. Kelly way, the Soulja way. I don't know if we want to call it that, but that's rough, man. You just gotta think and treat people better. It should not be that complicated. Let's be honest. All right. And shout out to Megan for this article. I'll leave a link to this article in the chat for y'all as well. And actually, let me drop it in the chat. Thank you for that super chat, Black Butterfly. I appreciate it. Also, we've got over 400 of y'all in the building. Can we get some likes up in here? We're at 50% likes, so I appreciate everyone who's liked the video. But if y'all could, can we get 100% likes? We do it almost every single live stream, and I appreciate y'all doing that as well. If y'all could please like the video, that's all I ask. I don't ask for too much here. All right, let's go ahead and get into this next one. We've got Tony Busby up in here. Let me see if I could find this one, because well, we won't get into Tony Busby yet. Let's go ahead and talk about Diddy. And this is somewhat in the Tony Busby realm and what's going on with these lawsuits. Because as y'all know, as many of you know, Diddy is out here with about 11 lawsuits. I mean, the lawsuits have just been stacking up, especially since these federal charges came out, this federal indictment came out. The lawsuits have been continuing to stack up and stack up. But there's been a lot of issues with the Southern District of New York, obviously because of Tony Busby and some of the shady stuff that he's been doing. And it seems like the Southern District of New York is about to take a stand against all of the abuses in the system that has been going on, because according to this document, another judge has ruled that a man suing Sean Diddy Combs for assault can't proceed anonymously. All right. The judges have had enough with the BS. And it's interesting to see that they're going this way. So let's go ahead and get into it. And shout out again to Megan Cuniff for posting this over on X. What do they say? John Doe versus Sean Combs. Jesse M. Furman, the United States District Judge, says the plaintiff John Doe, who sues defendant Sean Combs, a rapper and record producer better known by his stage name P. Diddy, for assault, moves for leave to proceed under a pseudonym. All right, see ECF 14. The plaintiff's case is one of many such filed against Combs and related defendants in this district. Most, if not all, of the other plaintiffs have also sought to leave to proceed pseudonymously. Hopefully I said that right. Why don't they just say anonymously? Why do we have to make these making me look crazy? Today, every judge to consider a request has rejected it. Judges are saying no in the Southern District of New York. And it's not just because of Tony Busby. They're going to tell us why here. And these are all the instances where they said no. This court does too, substantially, for the reasons explained in the foregoing opinions. In brief, Rule 10A of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure require that all the parties be named in the title of the complaint. So you can't just file something and say John Doe. Come on, y'all. What are we doing here? And then in 42 2 DCR 2020, observing that the rule serves the vital purpose of facilitating public scrutiny of judicial proceedings, as people have a right to know who is using their courts. Exactly. Internal quotation marks omitted. In evaluating whether to grant an exception to that requirement, a court must balance the plaintiff's interest in anonymity against both the public interest in disclosure and any prejudice to the defendant. Right. And they obviously cite the case law there. The Second Circuit has identified 10 non-exhaustive factors to guide that inquiry, including whether the litigation involves matters that are highly sensitive and of personal nature. In a lot of these lawsuits, that is the case. So I could see why maybe they would take that exception, right? Including whether the litigation involves matters that are highly sensitive and of a personal nature, whether identification poses a risk of retaliatory physical or mental harm to the party seeking to proceed anonymously, and whether the defendant is prejudiced by allowing the plaintiff to press his claims anonymously. Here, as in the cases cited above, only two of these factors, whether the case involves highly sensitive and personal claims and whether the plaintiff has kept his identity confidential, weighs in favor of the plaintiff's request. So they don't meet the criteria is what the judge is saying. The other 8 weigh against it, most notably because Combs is under criminal indictment and is in federal custody. So the person they're saying they're afraid of, he's locked up. He can't do anything. So the names must be named. Plaintiff has not shown that Combs poses any threat to the plaintiff now or in the future, or that the disclosure of the plaintiff's identity will create any harms to any third party. Additionally, the use of pseudonyms by the plaintiff would cause a significant asymmetry in fact gathering because persons with valuable information about the plaintiff or his allegations would not be alerted to the case. So that wouldn't allow for witnesses to come forward. So even if someone wants to say, I don't think that's what happened, or they want to say, yeah, I think that's what happened, they won't know who it is because it's an anonymous lawsuit. Interesting. Prejudice that would, y'all excuse me 1 second. Man, the pollen is getting to me. Prejudice that would not be cured by confidential disclosure of the plaintiff's names to the defendant's counsel. In short, the gravity of the charges combined with the fact that the plaintiff has presented no evidence to specific and concrete harm from disclosure of his identity and the severe prejudice of the defendant from keeping that identity confidential undermine his claims to proceed anonymously. Okay, there we go. And the plaintiff's motion for leave to proceed pseudonymously, oh my gosh, is therefore denied. Judge said, no, we ain't doing it. The plaintiff shall refile the complaint in his own name by April 22nd, 2025, or the case will be dismissed. Shout out to Judge Jesse Furman. So looks like we're going to have another person named in this lawsuit. We'll see if they move forward. I doubt that they just dropped the lawsuit because it seems like this is something that they're standing on, which we're going to talk about some of these Diddy lawsuits a little bit later, and a couple of them that are just starting to fall flat on their face. But also one more thing. The Southern District of New York's judges have developed their own body of case law on the plaintiff anonymity in the Diddy lawsuits. What did they say? 2 other judges last week, as Judge Furman just stated, issued orders similar to Lehman's. The U.S. District Judge John P. Cronin on March 28th rejected anonymity for a man who says he was drugged with Rifanol. Hopefully I said that right. Rifanol at a house party in New York in 2022 and woke to Diddy assaulting him. And I believe, again, y'all don't quote me on this, I believe this was the one the guy said he was a businessman. He was going to meet Diddy for some business, and he went into the room with Diddy. Diddy gave him a drink, and then he woke up on the bed, and some things were happening there. I believe that's the case. Either way, to date, every judge to consider such a request was rejected. Megan says, Judge Furman wrote, and then she actually has an article on it, which I'll leave in the description for y'all. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments and in the chat. It's seeming like the Southern District of New York is taking a stand and saying, if you guys are going to come out and say this man was that much of a monster and you're worried about him, you don't have to worry about that because he's locked up. He's facing federal charges. We have a 98, 99 success rate on these charges. So go ahead and say who you are. So if someone needs to come forward, if a witness wants to come forward and say, oh, I know who this is. They talked to me about it. I want to speak on it. Or if someone says, I want to come forward, this is not the case. That's not what happened. We'll have to wait and see. Let me know what y'all think in the comments and in the chat. And I see y'all in the chat too. Somebody was saying something. Oh, shout out to Rhonda. I appreciate you being here, Rhonda. Good morning. Trying to embarrass us in these streets with these crazy words. What did they say? Pseudonymously? What is that? Thankfully, I've been working on my reading, y'all. So I was able to figure it out. But pseudonymously? Come on, man. Is it anonymously? Is it pseudonymously? Is it anonymity? Is it anonymously, pseudonymously? Like, what are we doing? Face-to-face evidence, that's how you pronounce it. Rohypnol. Thank you. And I'm not believing a grown woman that was knowingly dating a child. Oh, y'all still talking about Tay-K. Yeah, that thing is crazy. That thing is really crazy. She dated a minor, talking about Miss Reyes, the ex-stripper. Tay-K 24, and she's 27. He's still young, and she's getting out of there. She's trying to save her own ass, and it will turn bad for her. She's trying to save herself. She was a stripper selling her body. That's why he had condoms and lube. Definitely a setup. Plus, Tay-K was still a little boy, 16 years old, influenced by this 18-year-old stripper that could have left. She drove. Not only did she drove, when she saw what was happening, and this dude jumped out of the car and jumped on the windshield, she drove again. Then she stopped. Tay-K got out, and she was up out of there. She's like, I was scared. We don't buy it, Miss Reyes. But hey, Miss Reyes is not the one on trial here yet. Let's keep that in mind. We don't know who killed Mark. None of us were there. And the one person who's willing to testify and was there has all the incentive in the world to say that it wasn't her or that it wasn't somebody else, that it was Tay-K. Because the prosecution said, hey, if you get up here and you do what we need you to do, we'll make sure you're taken care of. Don't worry. Disgusting. Thanks for dropping the link. Yeah, let me drop the link to this other article. Oh, I already put it. Okay, we're good. Yeah, exactly. She could have shut it all down. She didn't have to pick them up. The photo shoot was canceled. She's doing time. Any deal she thinks she has, that's why the jury asked for a repeat. Yeah, and I mean, when it comes to credible witnesses, that chick is not a credible witness. Let's be real. Not now. If she had come forward before that and before these charges came out, maybe she would be credible, but I don't think anybody is buying the testimony of a stripper, an ex-stripper who was dating an underage boy. She's surely a criminal with a deal. Yeah. And a snitch too, but no, it doesn't matter. I don't have a problem with snitches. All right, so this is, y'all are going to love this one. Y'all are going to enjoy this one because we covered this lawsuit that recently came out about Diddy, and several people were mentioned in this lawsuit, including LeBron James. I know. The whole thing was crazy. The whole situation didn't make sense. And I actually want to do a little bit of a rewind and go back and look at what the lawsuit said. And then I'll give y'all an update as to what the accuser's saying. But basically, reading the headline here, TMZ says Diddy accuser changed his tune on Beyonce and Jay-Z. My bad, they weren't there. What? So what did they say in this one initially, right? We had this whole situation that came out. It was last week at some point, and this accuser said Beyonce, LeBron, They saw me at this freak off and I was doing some crazy things. So after this came out, shortly after it came out, that same day, several people had this to say, including a spokesperson for LeBron James. They were calling out the BS. At 3:45 that same day, a spokesperson for LeBron James said, "This is demonstrably false and doesn't even merit a report or response. A basic internet search shows what LeBron was doing on April of 2015. He was playing basketball for the Cleveland Cavaliers and never in Miami." Then you also had Brian Bieber, an attorney for Brendan Paul, who was named in this lawsuit. Is this an April Fool's joke? If someone seriously filed this lawsuit, the allegations against Brendan are 100% false and literally impossible to have occurred. Jay-Z's attorney, Alex Spiro, you know Alex does not play. He says Mr. Carter wasn't in Florida at the time to witness this incident. He was engaged in easily findable public activities that prove he was not at this event. This is more nonsense that erodes the trust in our justice system. And I keyed on this the last time we covered it. This system is absolutely garbage. This civil lawsuit system, it needs a complete overhaul. It's scary to see that people can file lawsuits like this, where I could go on Google and say, hey, or I could go to ChatGPT and say, hey, where was LeBron James this week? And it'll tell me exactly where he was. And a person could still file this lawsuit and defame someone's name. And then they could just come and say, oh, my bad, they weren't there. You also had Gloria and Emilio Estefan. They said Gloria and Emilio strongly denied the allegations made. The property in question was never a home where Gloria and Emilio resided, but it was rather a house they owned for family to use. So everybody came out. They denied. Now the accuser is trying to backtrack. Okay, what do they say? Beyonce coming face to face with a drug guy wearing a, y'all can read, you know what mask. Must have been a crazy but fever dream. The Diddy accuser, who claimed Bey and Jay-Z saw him at a freak off, has changed his mind. Manzaro Joseph, who sued Diddy earlier this month, just filed an amended lawsuit. And while he's still going after Diddy in court, of course, it's the popular thing to do right now, he very noticeably dropped the Carters from his narrative. In the new docs, Joseph makes zero mention of Jay or Beyonce. And as far as we can tell, the only change he made in the lawsuit. So I guess LeBron's still in there. TMZ broke the story. Joseph originally claimed the couple saw him in one hell of a state during the 2015 birthday party in Miami for Diddy's son King Combs. Joseph allegedly drugged him and paraded him around the party while forcing him to wear a crazy mask. And when Jay and Beyonce saw him, they said, why is this half-naked man with a you know what mask standing here in front of me? There's a reason the story does not appear in the new version of the lawsuit. Sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ Jay-Z's attorney, Alex Spiro, warned Joseph's attorney about making false allegations in the lawsuit. He said, nah, don't. We've done this before. Hey, you ever heard of Tony Busby? Go look and see what happened to him. Tony Busby's career is just not looking great right now. Alex Spiro warned Joseph's attorney about making false allegations in the lawsuit after proving Jay, and Beyonce were nowhere near Miami at the time of the alleged incident. This is the second time Jay's been vindicated in a lawsuit involving Diddy. Remember, Jane Doe, who accused the moguls of assaulting her back in 2000, dismissed her lawsuit last month. When are we going to put some respect on Jay-Z's name? I am so sick of these content creators out there. And yes, I see the videos. He's guilty of something, content creators. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. I hope and I pray, first of all, that you never have to deal with this in the first place. But if something were to happen in this instance, that people wouldn't just automatically throw you away for no reason. It's crazy to me to see that so many people are out there saying, oh, well, he's guilty of something. Well, he might have beat this one, but I know he did something. It's absolutely disgusting. I hope someone wouldn't say that if I, God forbid, had someone bring up a crazy lawsuit against me like this. Well, y'all should be ashamed of yourself, man. Either way, Joseph is still suing Diddy, Emilio Estefan, yes, and others for damages. So it looks like LeBron James is still mentioned in there. Let's go ahead and look at this TMZ video where they explain a little bit more of what this crazy lawsuit says. Here we go.
If you want to follow your dream.
Oh no, of course they got the ad playing here. So we're going to mute the ad here for a second. But anyway, I mentioned a couple other people who were quoted in this lawsuit. So they still didn't remove LeBron James. So that either says to me LeBron James' attorney has not responded to this officially and spoken to them like Alex Spiro has, or maybe there is something there and they want to handle this a different way and LeBron just wants to be left out of it. We'll have to wait and see.
We promise you this is not an April Fool's joke, what you're
crazy.
about to hear. It is an actual lawsuit filed by an attorney in federal court about Diddy and an alleged freak-off that went down in Miami in April 2015. So exactly 10 years ago. They say this was a party for Diddy's son, King Combs, but all the names involved here are huge.
Huge.
Talking Beyonce, Jay-Z, LeBron James. Now, all of those people are just witnesses, according to this lawsuit.
And strangely enough, Gloria Estefan.
Gloria
The
Estefan.
rhythm is going to get you, Gloria Estefan.
Yes,
And
Gloria-
her husband, Emilio.
Yes.
Crazy.
And now, again, all witnesses. Emilio is actually a defendant in this lawsuit, along with Diddy. But here is the story as told by a man named Joseph Manzaro in this lawsuit that we obtained this morning. He says that he showed up at this party, or woke up at this party and didn't understand how he got there, that he's insinuating clearly that he'd been drugged.
It's weird.
But woke up and at one point saw Gloria Estefan and Emilio Estefan, and Gloria is saying, hey, we need to get him medical help because he's too drugged up.
Get an ambulance. Get him out of here.
And according to Manzaro, Emilio steps in and says, no, we're not doing that, and shoves Gloria out of the way, and then they
Away he
take
goes.
this guy through a tunnel from the Estefan's house to Diddy's home. Now, this is on Star Island in Miami. They do actually live near each other. So that part of
That's
it
an interesting fact.
is
They
you
did
know,
some
that's
research.
a fact that anybody can find.
Sure.
But what happened once he got into this party at Diddy's house is outrageous. And I know we're supposed to take every lawsuit seriously. Because
Nope.
we don't know. We weren't there.
No, we're not.
The Gloria Estefan part. That's just the start. How Beyonce gets involved.
Again, I know I stopped this the last time we saw this video. We do not take every lawsuit seriously. You could file a civil lawsuit like that with no evidence, with just a preponderance, right? It literally seems like you have to have the lowest standard of proof when filing a civil lawsuit. So no, we don't take every civil lawsuit seriously. I don't take civil lawsuits seriously at all, to be honest.
Seriously, because we
That's
don't
just
know.
me.
We weren't there. The Gloria Estefan part.
I completely
That's just the
disagree.
start. How Beyonce gets involved. So listen to this. He says that at one point he's being walked around the party and he looks up and sees Beyonce. And she says, "What's this? What's this all about? Why is this half-naked white man with a blank mask, another word for penis, mask, standing here in front of me?"
Yeah, apparently they put on him a penis mask on his head.
Oh,
so he's wearing
Lord.
almost no clothes, according to his lawsuit, and a penis mask.
Are y'all buying
And,
it?
that was a jarring sight for people.
And LeBron James also saw him at one point and said, "Y'all better do something about that." It goes on. There's more.
That's crazy,
It
man.
is one hell of a story.
Yeah, look, this is one of the most shocking lawsuits I've read. If this had been the first Diddy lawsuit, our jaws would be on the floor, but there's a quality to it that sounds like almost a screenplay being written, because he says he was lapsing sort of in and out of consciousness, and he's hearing voices of celebrities throughout this lawsuit. There's obviously the mask that he says he was wearing and being degraded and humiliated. There's also a bit of a Mad Libs quality of the other defendants. There's people who have sued Diddy before. A woman named Audrea English is a defendant in this lawsuit. She's been a plaintiff in another lawsuit against Diddy. So it's hard to make heads or tails of this if this is just so late in the game that it's someone who is very familiar with the people and the players in Diddy's life that they could put together a lawsuit,
or if
whether
it's
this
something
actually
that
happened.
or if it's something that happened and the reason that you recognize the names is they are people
who are really in Diddy's circle.
Who were in Diddy's circle. It also mentions a guy named
Everybody
Brendan
was in
Paul,
Diddy's circle.
who
I
you
mean,
recall
oh.
when the raids went down, was arrested by the authorities and charged as basically allegedly being a drug mule for Diddy. He is mentioned in this lawsuit as well.
Yeah, and I mean, again, y'all are saying in the comments about guilty by association. Who wasn't in the music industry, had it run in with, was close to, or was in Diddy's circle? I mean, everybody was close to Diddy. So I'm sure more people are going to be named in more lawsuits. You even have a video of LeBron James saying, "Ain't no party like a Diddy party." People are like, "Yo, LeBron, what? What are you talking about?" That's just the nature of it. And you don't know everything that goes on behind the scenes. So I get it. So this isn't the first. It won't be the last. And y'all know the federal trial is going to be starting soon here in the next month. So that'll be interesting. And of course, we'll be giving you updates here on what's going on. So let me know what y'all think about this in the comments and in the chat. All right, let me see what y'all are saying in here too. Oh my gosh, y'all are up here. Leave that man alone. I think Judge Boyd sees that he was set up. He uses poor decision making. He may just go home talking about Tay-K. Kathy is in here. Good morning, Kathy. Tay-K didn't even have any type of money until he got arrested. Yes, that ex was lying. She was the driver. She was having a good time and not a worry when she was staying with my cousin, his sister. Oh, shout out to Maisha. That's Tay-K's your cousin. That's crazy. Nora, when everything was happening, she thought my little cousin was a come up, that he'd take her from the stripping world. It sounds like a lot of NBA players right now, right, Maisha? And they still get caught up. And here's the thing I'll say to Maisha too. We talked about this when it comes to Tay-K. Did the state do their job? The state has to do their job and prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Tay-K was the one that did it. I'm not seeing it. I don't know if the jury sees it the same way. I believe the driver should be in prison. Oh yeah, she need to. I mean, you could argue that Tay-K wouldn't have even allegedly been able to shoot him if she had just stayed there, or if she hadn't picked him up. What part did she really have to play? And the state just glossed over all that. Not to mention there were two other guys in the car that we haven't heard from. Where are they at? What part did they play in this? I don't feel bad for Tay-K considering the fact. I do feel bad for Tay-K considering the fact that he was a minor. Yeah, I mean, I get that. And trying to hold a 16-year-old accountable for clearly being in a rough situation is tough. But again, that's not up to me to decide. To be honest, when it comes to feeling bad, it's what the legal system decides. My feelings really don't factor in that point. It's tough though. I don't know. In my opinion, and I'm not tussling with, in my opinion, I'm not tussling with none of y'all. In this case, Tay-K, it has to be not guilty because there was.
And so what we have ultimately is that there is no evidence, none.
Yep. And someone said our opinions don't really matter. He's in the fate of the juries. Yep. She facilitated that shooting. I think that's probably why she was up there crying, shaking like, oh, dear Lord, please. She was looking bad. Man, Miss Reyes was looking bad. The sad part is the jury is looking at a 25-year-old man, not a 16-year-old boy. Ooh, great point, Noah. A 16-year-old boy is accused, not a grown man. One thing I will say, that is an excellent point, Noah. The defense should have focused and keyed in on that a little bit more. I mean, they did a great job taking some shots at Miss Reyes and really pointing the finger and saying this lady was messing with the minor driving the getaway car around. And y'all don't think she has an incentive to say it was Tay-K? This is the only witness that actually is saying they saw him do it. Not buying it. But he was young. He was I won't say a child. He was a young man in this point. Around all these other grown people. Yeah, I really wish they would have focused more in on that too. That's a great point, Noah. Thanks for pointing that out. All right, so we're going to take a few more minutes. I'm watching to see if we have any updates on the verdict. The jury has been deliberating for 7 hours when it comes to Tay-K. And shout out for the family, man. And shout out to the family for being in here. I appreciate you being here, Misha. Oh, Maisha. I mispronounced your name. Maisha Brown, my bad. I just be skipping letters. Hopefully the jury makes the right decision in this. I know Tay-K, he's already going to be in there for 28 minimum. But, I mean, in this case, I'm not seeing it if we're being honest. So let's go ahead and let's check out Judge Boyd putting in some work over here. So we're going to watch Judge Boyd for a little while, and then I'll probably let y'all get out of here. I actually don't have a picture of Judge Boyd I need to get for our headline. So we'll update that at some point, because even once this trial is over, I think we're going to be seeing some more of Judge Boyd. So here we go. Let's get into it. See what she's got on her morning docket today. Well, no, it depends. Yeah, Noah says even if he's convicted, he still has a chance of parole in 20 years. Well, the problem is he's already serving 55 and he has the chance of parole in 28, right? It depends on if he's found guilty, if he's convicted, if he would then have to do 58 years, because that would be, 28 years. What would he be? 40, 44? You add another 30 years onto that, you're looking at dying in prison. So this is a big deal. This is a very big deal. Here we go.
All right.
Great conversation, though. I appreciate y'all.
On this site.
Let's see what Judge Boyd has going on today.
For an extension for the payment of fees, correct?
That is correct, Judge.
Thank y'all for liking the video, by the way.
Conditions of probation. He reports as he should. No other indications other than his very, very, very first CUA that anything was going on. Everything after that was negative. The fees do not have any restitution ordered or anything like that, Judge.
All right. When can you give $500 towards your fees?
I don't have the money, Your Honor. I haven't been able to work in 4 years. I had a heart attack prior to this DWI, and I've been unable to work since. I was having chest pains every time I tried to do something. The doctors ran tests, CTs, scans, x-rays, echocardiograms, everything, told me I was fine. And so finally, after 4 years, they finally
Judge Boyd is stone cold. She don't care.
Found out that one of the stents they put in collapsed. So they put another stent inside that one. Now I'm going through cardiac rehab, and they're telling me it's going to be approximately 3 to 4 months, but that's normally for somebody that just comes out of a heart attack, not for somebody that hasn't been sitting around for 4 years.
All right. So this is what I'm telling you. It says here that you owe $1,363. Every time I extend you, what ends up happening is you're not allowed to get off of probation early because it's a DWI. So I'm giving you a break.
He got money to drink.
$500 and we'll call it a day.
Oh,
because
look at
some
Judge
fees
Boyd.
have to be paid towards probation because that's how probation officers are paid. So when
She's
do you
being super
think
nice.
that you will be able to pay at least $500?
Today.
And I'm giving you a discount. That's even less than half.
I can ask my mom if she'll give me the money. I mean, I don't have the money.
I mean, don't people
I'll find a
receive
way,
income
dude.
tax? If you're on Social Security, you don't have to pay any taxes. You get whatever they've taken.
Yes, Judge, may I?
Yes.
$500. Come
He
on,
has
bro.
provided documentation of his SSI, and he has provided all of his bills and everything. It does appear from his financial analysis that we've conducted that he is under a financial hardship. Just wanted the court to know that.
Okay.
I get $755 a month, and that goes towards every bill that we have, which we just been living out the credit cards, and they're coming after us now. We already got 3 lawsuits on that for not being able to pay them, and there's gonna be more because I don't have money to pay them.
Get it together, brother, and stop drinking.
I mean, I can, like I said, the only thing I can do is try to ask my mom, see if she'll give me the money. I don't have the money, and I don't foresee anytime soon that I personally will have it myself.
You want to talk to your client?
Let me talk to him briefly, Jen.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, Judge Boyd is amazing, man. Shout out to Judge Boyd. She does not play. Somebody said Joanna Reyes is coming up after this. Ugh. I thought I saw somebody earlier, but I'm gonna make sure I didn't miss anyone. So he's talking with his attorneys now to see if they can figure something out. Somebody get this man $500. Start a GoFundMe, brother.
You can reapproach her.
Master Collection Plane says BSB. Come on. And thank you all for liking the video too.
Mr.
I
Hennick
appreciate it.
believes that if the court gives him a 30-day extension, he's confident he can come up with $500.
All right. So once you pay that, then I will allow you to terminate.
Look at that.
And I will tell you, I understand the hardships that people go through. You know, I have relatives who have the same hardships as you do. But people think that the fees, you know, where do they go, right? When people say, this is your court cost, this is your fine.
It doesn't matter. Don't drink and drive, Judge Boyd. Dang.
It's
that simple.
The fees, it goes to probation. It pays their salaries for them to check on people, for them to do all of that. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is, but other than that, they tell me you've been doing great on probation. I tell you what, I'll set it for May 27th. And if it's paid by then, of course, you won't terminate until May 27th, but they'll send me a termination form on that day. Okay?
Will I need to come back to court, or is it just?
No, once you paid the $500, you will be done. Well, done with as far as having to come back to court, but you won't be off of probation till May 27th. And of course, you'll have to keep abiding by the conditions of probation. Okay? And
Nice.
on May 27th, if you paid everything, just make sure you don't fall back into old habits. All right. All right. So, Ms. Abrams, he's going to be extended to May 27th and he'll pay the $500.
There you go.
All right.
Shout out to
Thank you.
Judge Boyd
Thank you.
showing
You
some
always
mercy.
dress appropriate for court. I appreciate it.
I tried to put my jacket on, but it's too small for me. I couldn't get my arms like
Let
that.
me just tell you, you're dressed appropriately. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gunner.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Judge Boyd is the best, man. I love watching Judge Boyd work. I'm gonna get Judge Boyd up here on the channel. I'm gonna ask her if she wants to stop by. That would be amazing. I just want to hear her story. Maybe that'll be a new series that we start. So this, I think we already reviewed. They had Tay-K's people come up there. Here we go.
All right. So where are we on discovery?
We received discovery, Judge, and we also received an offer. This is our first setting, so I'd like to reset it to talk to the family, and he needs to consult with the family as well.
What is it
All right,
for?
how old are you? How old are you?
He's 18, Judge. He doesn't speak English.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man, he doesn't speak
Somebody bring
American.
an interpreter down.
All right.
Thank you.
He doesn't speak American. Dang, bro. Come on. What happened? They are in Tejas, though. You got to get it together.
Other than,
Good morning, Judge.
good morning, how are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing okay. Other than allergies, but that's to be expected.
I feel that.
So are we ready to proceed on the motions to revoke?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, court is calling 2018 CR 5502 and 2022 CR 5998. State versus Jalen Collins. Can I have parties announced for the record? State.
Andrew here, Salem.
Judge, I'm here in memoriam for Mr. Collins. It's 5993, I believe.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2022 CR 5993.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and are you Mr. Collins? All right, you'll need to make sure you speak up so that the court reporter can hear. Did you review the documents entitled Motion to Revoke Community Supervision and First Amendment Motion to Revoke Community Supervision with your attorney? Did you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
What did he
Are you
do?
the same Jalen Michael Collins who
He
is
looks
placed
like
on
he's-
community supervision
he's
in
flexing on-
2018 CR 5502 for the offense of
Relax,
deadly
brother.
conduct discharging a firearm on April 19, 2023 for a term of 8 years? Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you not sure?
Are you sure? That's what I'm saying.
Does he know what's going on?
Yes, Your Honor.
I just remember that was this was handled in June. June, September 20th.
All right, so it's saying here that you were placed on probation on April 19, 2023 for 8 years. Do you remember being placed on probation? Do you remember that being for deadly conduct, discharge of a firearm? Do you remember that being in cause number 2018 CR 5502? And do you remember being placed on probation on April 19, 2023 for 8 years for possession of a controlled substance penalty group 1, 4,200 grams?
Oh, no.
And cause number 2022 CR 5993?
Yes.
All right, state, are you proceeding on the same allegations in each motion? All right, you may proceed.
Texas, the defendant, Jalen Michael Collins, presented their bill to attend and provide verification of service support / Alcoholics Anonymous / Narcotics Anonymous meeting for the month of January 2025 as directed in violation of condition number 18.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
I plead.
All right, so let me ask you this. Do you understand what's going on here?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so if you've worked out an agreement with the state with the state, I don't have to follow that agreement because your contract is with the court. Do you understand? So you're pleading of true, I can send you to prison. Do you understand? So do you understand the violation that was read by the state's attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you pleading true to that or not true? All right, I'll let you all sit down so you can, no. I'm gonna let you sit down so you can discuss things with the attorney so
He doesn't
I
know
can
what's going on.
that you are
Dang.
intelligently, voluntarily, and knowingly entering into your pleas are true or not true. So I'll let you do that with your attorney. All right. Luis Martinez.
Judge, may I excuse, I need to run this one. I'll be back.
Oh, If you'll just talk to him, because we're going to have a jury
doesn't
coming
know
in, and
what's
I'll
going
take
on.
you right up.
McIntyre's up here.
I'm sorry?
McIntyre's here.
I'm sorry. Can I just give me 2 minutes to put this on the record? All right, we're going to go on the record in 2019 CR 12495 State versus Tamar McIntyre. Can I have parties announced for the state?
Jason here, had a big yellow with the shade on it.
He then stepped out.
I'll step out.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody.
And for the defense?
John Hunter for Mr. McIntyre.
Mr. McIntyre, come down.
All right, so we already went through this in case y'all missed it. Don't worry, I will have that clipped up for y'all to view later. Let's skip ahead. We'll see a couple more cases, and then we haven't seen anything from Tay-K yet. So let me see. No verdict yet. We're about to hit the 8-hour mark for jury deliberation for Tay-K. So I can't imagine they go another day. I'm sure they're watching a lot of those videos, seeing the different perspectives, because the witness testimony in this case, let's be real, it's just garbage. Absolute garbage. Depending on how much weight you put onto Miss Reyes' testimony, the rest of the eyewitness testimony, in my opinion, was just terrible.
And Your Honor, Mr. Martinez,
Okay. And was there a plea on only one case or two? All right.
Both good.
All right. All right, court is calling 2024 CR 4764 and 2024 CR 4765, State versus Luis Martinez. Could I have parties
All right,
announced for
Luis.
the record for the state?
Ashley Jones.
Bud Rittenhour for the defense.
And
Yeah,
are
Karen
you Mr.
Reed is
Martinez?
next, y'all.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. In each cause number, you entered a plea. And cause number 2024 CR 4764 to the offense of aggravated sexual assault of a child, you entered a plea of no contest. And cause number 2020.
Crimes against children, man. It just flips the switch for me. I just go into a different mode when I start to hear about crimes against children. Man, when I was serving on a jury here in Fulton County, seeing these indictments and hearing some of the things that happens, that was one of the toughest things I've done. It'll make you want to go find somebody. I'll just say that.
24 CR 4765. You entered a plea of no contest.
No contest.
PSI
Man,
was
get this guy
ordered.
out of
Have
here.
both parties reviewed the PSI?
Yes.
We have, and I've reviewed with Mr.
Do not pass go. Do
Any
not collect
objections to the
$200.
PSI from either side?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
No objections, Your Honor.
All right. And cause number 2024 CR 4764, according to your agreement, punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 15 years in the prison. There's a $1,500 fine. No
1,500?
applications. The cases are to run concurrent, and you're to comply with chapter 62. And cause number 2024 CR 4765. According to your plea, punishment is to be assessed at 2 years in the prison. There's a $1,500 fine. Run concurrent with the other case, and you're to register. All right, are there any witnesses from either side?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
Not from the defense, Judge.
All right, the court will hear argument. State.
Yes, Your Honor. The court would just, the state would like the court to consider the fact that the defendant took advantage of the most vulnerable victims in our society, not only due to their age, but also to their broken home and their living situation. They put their trust in their defendant.
Did she say they? Oh, man. Did she say they as in more than one?
Yes, Your Honor. The court would just, the state would like the court to consider the fact that the defendant took advantage of the most vulnerable victims in our society. not only due to
Victims.
Their age, but also to their broken home and their living situation. They put their trust in their defendant,
when they lived with them, and stated like the court to consider that this defendant took that trust and violated their bodies for years, which will follow them for the rest of their life. And the defendant's apologies, while welcome, do nothing to alleviate the egregiousness of these
Apologies.
And it's the state's position that the only thing that the victims would want is to see the defendant in prison for the cap of the 15 years, and that is what the state is asking.
1,500 years.
Yes.
Your Honor, you've read the PSI.
Can we make it
expresses
1,500?
Here, he has asked me to express his apologies to the victims. He knows he has no words to properly express how sorry he is in this case. He did wrong. He understands that. He understands he's going to get punished. He accepts that as well. But his background, as the courts noted.
Thanks for
he did
being
not
here,
have a
Maisha.
background. He has a high school graduation degree, but he can't read or write.
I don't give a
That obviously is never fixed. The court will recall that he suffered significant abuse, physical, mental, and sexual from his stepfather from age 10. Was forced to watch his sister get raped.
That's
Never
unfortunate.
got any help for that. He suffers serious mental issues, panic disorder, anxiety disorder, paranoia, bipolar, sex abuse, substance abuse since 13 when his father would beat him if he didn't drink.
Stuff.
That's not an excuse, but that is somewhat of an explanation for where he is.
Yeah, you know, that's really, that's sad, and it's unfortunate people go through these things. Delete. Goodbye. Control, Alt, delete. Hey, Judge Boyd, add a couple zeros to that 15 years, could you? I appreciate you.
He has obviously been in jail for a while. Thought about this.
Thank you to everybody
Does
finding the
have to
channel.
learn to read and write.
Appreciate you, Tara.
Therapeutic community, I think, would be appropriate here in this case. Training, so that he can do something productive.
Nope.
He's lived an isolated life. He needs to learn to socialize better. There are some things that he thinks he can do in TDC. Although that is punishment, he understands that. All we're asking, Judge, is a fair and just punishment within the range.
No, he's not changing. He's had his whole butt life. Ever heard of Jarvis Butts? Ever heard of Naziah Harris? Jarvis Butts was a very productive member of society. He had a car business. He had a body shop, or not a body shop. He had a mechanic shop. He was working on cars, doing great. He had a history, kept doing what he was doing, and then things finally went left. Get this guy out of society, please. We don't need him. We don't want him.
All right. So it always amazes me that people just trust their children with anyone and let them.
Thank you, Judge Boyd. Thank you. I'm going to let her talk. Y'all came here for Judge Boyd, not me. I'm going to let her talk. Go ahead, cook, Judge Boyd.
All right. So it always amazes me that people just trust their children with anyone and let them sleep in beds with grown men when they're children.
Thank you, Judge. I love Judge Boyd.
I guess
Thank
people
you.
don't bathe their own children anymore, or have conversations with their children to find out what's going on in their household.
Thank you, Judge Boyd.
I
Oh
want
my
you to
gosh.
know,
I've been saying
Mr.
this.
Martinez, I understand what your counsel is saying. I've internalized what he's saying. And I understand that some people have worse childhoods than others. Some people have gone through a lot. But at the same
Decisions.
time, at some point in time, your choices become your own choices. And even though you've had this rough childhood,
Talk to him.
and you've witnessed things and you've gone through your trauma, you shouldn't be visiting that trauma upon others, especially children. All right, this is what the court is going to do.
1,500,
Clause
Judge
number
Boyd.
2024 CR 4765. As previously stated, the court has found you guilty. The court will sentence you to 2 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. There's a $1,500 fine. Time and money will run concurrent. This will run concurrent with 2024 CR 4764.
Judge
There's to be no
Boyd.
contact with the complainants or the complainant's family. And there's to be Chapter 62 registration. And cause number 2024 CR 4764. As previously stated, the court is finding you guilty. The court will sentence you to 15 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. There's a $1,500 fine, time and money to run concurrent.
There we go.
This will run concurrent with 2024 CR
I was about to-
4765.
I was
There's to
about
be
to lose
Chapter
it.
62 compliance. And there's to be no contact with the complainant
Consecutive, Judge Boyd. Come on.
or the
Not concurrent.
complainant's family. And each of the cause numbers, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
I wish he would appeal that.
And I'm sorry, counsel, in each case to deal with his trauma, I recommend the therapeutic community.
Thank you.
They may not accept him due to the nature of the charge, but he's going to request it as well. All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it? All right, because these are plea bargain agreements, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because these are felony convictions, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, and I want to tell you, one of the reasons why I followed your plea bargain agreement was because of your past trauma. But your past trauma does not excuse you. You understand? All right, good luck to you. What's going to end up happening? My understanding, there's victim impact statement. I always tell people, internalize what people are saying. Sometimes people are angry.
No,
You know,
take
that's
that
the way
and
they
live with
feel.
that for the rest of
All
your
right.
life. You
All right, if
piece
you'll
of
step
sh-
over to the side, Deputy Laura, we have victim impact.
Here we go. Victim impact statement. Now, shout out to we're going to have a regular segment on the show for Judge Boyd. Judge Boyd is the truth, man. I love this judge. Judge Boyd is amazing. Because she held the parents accountable just like we did when we were talking about Naziah Harris, and y'all were upset, and the comments are still going about that. About, oh, it wasn't their fault. Oh, why are you blaming the parents? Judge Boyd just said it. Listen to your children, be involved, and don't leave them with strange or weird people. It's not that complicated. So shout out to Judge Boyd. I'll be interested to see if she has anything to say about this impact statement. I don't think she's going to say anything to the victim. I think that would be a little much. But I wonder if she's going to have a reaction there. Shout out to Judge Boyd. She's absolutely on point. So he got 17, well, it's 15 and then 2. And he's serving those 2 concurrent with the 15. But we're not going to see him for a while. And he's going to do it again. Y'all were saying that in the chat. Oh, we don't get to hear it. Dang, that's crazy. Do we not get to hear the victim impact statement? Probably to protect the parents. All right, shout out to Judge Boyd. I'm going to leave it at that. Let me know what y'all think about that in the comments in the chat. Wow. Have that convo with your kids early, 5 years old. yeah, Mike. Yes. Have that conversation with your kids. Please be involved in your kids' life. Talk to them. Ask them what's going on. Just be there. Just be there, man. Shout out to the gang in the building, man. I appreciate y'all showing so much love. Thank you to everyone who's liked the video. We got over 100% likes today. Y'all have no idea how helpful that is. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love and support y'all show. Shout out to Maisha for stopping by. I definitely hope the jury makes what I think would be the right decision in this case from a legal standpoint when it comes to your cousin. when it comes to your cousin, and give them our best as well. It's tough, man. Tough and sad situation. Sad for Mark Anthony Saldivar too, because even in this case, if Tay-K is found not guilty, and then you have whatever happens with Miss Reyes, what does that mean for the Saldivar family, right? It's sad, man. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for the love and support. Y'all know we gonna be back. We're gonna be back here tomorrow with some more news and updates for you. If we have a verdict, maybe in the next couple of hours, I will probably go live. Otherwise, we'll keep watching for tomorrow. Thank y'all again. And thank you, Rhonda. I appreciate it. Thank you, Michi, for the support. Y'all know what to do. Have a great afternoon. And as always, keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gone. Peace.